questions in the audience, so.
It's good. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's for that way.
There's a question here is asking, would sex trafficking go away if prostitution were legal? Holland has a red light district, for example.
Just give it a mic.
I think the problem is with our human depravity. So a legalization wouldn't solve that problem. There's always the need of some to dominate others, and that's really the thing that the underlying cause of all of this is that. So if this was legal, there would be another way to still for the people that are depraved to get what they want. So I don't think it would solve
Adding
it.
to that, I also believe that if it were to be legalized, it would just pretty much give the traffickers a green light. You know, there would be more trafficking because.
Could be another way to exploit. Right.
Okay. Are there any male victims of sex trafficking? If so, what are the percentages of males?
I recently met a fellow that he's about 25 years old, and when he was 20 years old, because he grew up in a Christian home, he was very naive, and the next thing you know, he's in drugs and alcohol and being rebellious against his parents. And he said it started from the time he was a teenager. His father was at home, but his father wasn't a loving kind of figure. He was there and did what he was supposed to do, that was it. But it just built up, and the next thing you know, he's hanging around these people. They're doing drugs. They brought other people, and next thing you know, he's being sold. So it was kind of not a heart-wrenching story, but it was a sad story because he did grow up with a mom and dad in the home, but because they were absent, because his father was absent, he was looking for approval and acceptance from his father that he didn't get. He got involved with the wrong people, and they started selling him. So it definitely happens. It's kind of far yet, but it's getting more and more popular all the time.
According to Proctor, 2000.
Can I add something real quick? Unfortunately, also, it's a very male victims are very prominent in the transgender community. To have the transgender treatment is very expensive. So unfortunately, a lot of the individuals that are going through that process or that would like to go through that process end up prostituting themselves so that they can get the money that they need, and end up being in a very vulnerable situation where actually severely victimized.
According to Procopio in 2013, he found that 50% of commercially sexually exploited children are boys.
I wanted to add something to that. So I know there's a common perception that, it's like these helpless women get into these situations that, they're victims of human trafficking. But the thing is, statistically, globally, it's about 55% of women are victims of human trafficking and 45% are men. So that's almost 50-50. And another thing I wanted to bring up is that there is, how many of y'all have heard of sex tourism? Or the concept of sex tourism? So, basically, men traveling from the US to other parts of the world to have sex with children, mostly boys as well. And the thing is, under the TVPA, which is the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which is the federal legislation on behalf of human trafficking, even if that crime happened in, Phnom Penh, Vietnam, or Cambodia, or Thailand, you can, if they find out that you committed this crime, that you traveled to another country to have sex with a boy or an underage girl, you can still be federally charged here in America. So just know that, what happens in Vietnam does not stay in Vietnam.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and see if the audience has any questions now. I know this was a ton of information in a condensed period. We could go all night, so does anyone have any questions?
Hi, so my name is Holly Hood, and I'm the national delegate for the Kappa Colony, Delta Xi Nu here at UHCL, and you can see my letters here. Our national philanthropy is actually, our colony philanthropy is human trafficking awareness. And so I was wondering, I've talked to a couple of you already, how our colony could help work with your offices, and if you'd be interested in working with us, because we are looking to charter this year, and so we're expanding into the community very quickly. And I'd be interested in working with you guys. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Reginald. I have a question, and then I have a suggestion. My question is, somebody mentioned the products that we buy, and they were suggesting a genuine place we can buy products that might not be from where human trafficking, whatever slavery is. My question is, how would we differentiate between, because we have third world countries having products, then we have developing countries having products, and then we have developed countries. These countries, the cost of production is not the same. And that means their goods are not valued at the same. And sometimes, for example, like cotton or something, you might find that the value is the same, but because they produced it from a less, like low production, it is cheaper. So how do we go about that? It can be kind of confusing, I'm thinking. Would it be sensible to like mention some places where there's a lot of slavery and goods produced by really using people, exploiting people, so that we know if it's Malaysia, a certain part of Malaysia, and then the product has that, then you keep away from it. Instead of taking the whole world and then just getting a few people who are genuine, and then we support those, and then somehow we are, it's kind of, my suggestion is this forum is very educative. There are things I've heard, and my eyes are just opening, and like, okay, which world am I in? Now, I'm the president of the UHCL Christian Fellowship here, and we're having an idea. We're talking to departments here, faculty, staff, and other organizations, so that we start partnering and doing certain programs together. Is it possible that you guys start working through the existing organizations, because we already have people mobilized, and then we just have a forum where we can educate a lot of people, because there's so much information here and many people don't know. Yet us as people who are, because BSA and all other guys, Kevin, sorry, it's very important to me. It's part of my, like, it has really hit me so hard. Sorry, I'm wasting people's time maybe, but this is very serious. So can you start working with us through organizations so that we partner and we do this and we fight this? Thank you.
So I think that a lot of the audience wants to work with y'all, so if we could get some contact information. Volunteer.
Hello, my name is Brandon Taylor. This is a big problem, but I find that something that we're not talking about is an even bigger issue in the Western world. When you travel to another country and have sex with children, you are not a poor person. You are a person of means. You have money. A lot of these people who pay for sex in America, you're paying for it. I mean, it's not like you're buying crack for $5 rocks. You know, you're paying money for this. These are people who have money, who are prominent in their communities, priests, teachers, lawyers, doctors. So, to me, it's the same thing. It's the same thing we see on Wall Street. We see these people stealing so much money from America, your 401ks, and they don't get put out on the news unless it's like Bernie Madoff. One out of every 1,000, you know? That's the big problem. All these people are not being shamed. So many of these people have money and they're prominent members in the community, and they don't get shamed like they're supposed to. They keep on getting, you know, chances to do over, and they're doing the same thing over and over again. To me, that's the big problem. Nobody wants to really put these people out in the open on blast and actually do what they need to do to get them to solve their issues. I mean, there are people in Florida who have charges for sex violations, and they can't find anywhere to live. But these are poor people, poor minority men, poor white men. But the people who have money, that's the real problem, because they're buying sex, they're traveling overseas to do this. So, but I do commend you all for doing this. I just wonder how much we're actually winning in this war, because it's a real problem. But if we're not willing to actually prosecute the people who are actually doing it the most, you know, I don't know how much we're really doing.
Can I comment on a few things? So I wanted to do, like, I guess in order, and I'm going to be really, really brief. But basically, yes, if you would like to volunteer with my organization, if you are a student group, we actually, my organization is in charge of a coalition. We are the largest coalition in Houston combating human trafficking. And I know you all, Catholic Charities, is part of the coalition. I know Free the Captives is a part of the coalition as well. And basically, it is comprised of many different organizations, entities, and nonprofits from the greater Houston area. There's also not only just victim service providers, but law enforcement is part of it. You know, sometimes we have people from the U.S. Attorney's Office that come, FBI comes, the District Attorney's Office as well. And we basically meet quarterly. And our next meeting is Tuesday, August 5th at 10 a.m. at our office. And if you actually leave your email addresses, I can email you the location. And it's free and it's open, and we always ask you know, people who are just interested in the issue to just come stop by. So if your Greek Life organization or your student group would love to attend our meetings, we would love for you all to be official members and have a representative come to this meeting quarterly and actually learn about not only what's going on, but how these agencies are working together. Because the thing is, the key point is there needs to be collaboration. There needs to be collaboration from not only just community members and volunteers, but law enforcement, prosecutors, and victim service providers. Because if you don't have these diverse entities coming to the table and actually having a holistic conversation on how to combat the issue, then you're basically working in silos. And you're working in these small silos and you're not really making that much of an impact. So I hope that answers both of your questions. And also in terms of you know, the whole concept of fair trade, I would love to talk to you about offline, because I'm an economic supply management business junkie. So I'd love to throw some terminology at you and let you know, like, what exactly fair trade entails and how these people are getting fair payments. But also the question and the comment that you made about these very wealthy people, how they can get away with these crimes. We're actually having a conversation within the human trafficking field. And mind you, this anti-human trafficking field, it's a very, very new issue. I mean, it's been we've only been talking about it for like the last 10, 15 years, so we've just scratched the surface on this issue. And I see this as an activist and as a person in this community or in this movement, that there is a huge shift to not only go after the people that are, these prostitutes, or to go after the traffickers, but actually go after the people that are buying sex, to go after the Johns, to go after the people, and not only shame them, but actually have heavy penalties, so to make sure that they don't commit these crimes again, and that they can have, some sort of price to pay for the crimes that they commit, for them, being a part of this industry and fueling this industry. So I hope that answers your question. I mean, I know it's not perfect. We are a very, very new field. We've only been scratching the surface. So, we would love for you to be a part of this fight as well, with us, alongside us.
Okay, we're running out of time, so we're gonna take maybe 2 more questions. Sure.
Hello, hey, my name is Shreyas, I'm from India, and it's a plethora of information for me, like it's 5 months since I've been here, and you've made me way too cautious now. My question is, it's, you said that people don't come up and speak up because of, there's a certain category of victims, they don't come up and speak up because they have a fear of getting deported, right? So does it have something to do with the immigration laws? I mean, will changing the immigration laws or improving them, will it have an impact on the human trafficking industry? That question, so should it be loosened or tightened, or will that have no impact at all? That was my question. And one more question. You said you worked with the FBI. I just want to know, how's it like?
Well, we collaborate with the FBI. It's great. They really help us in identifying the victims, rescue. They're the ones that do the rescues, and then put the victims in contact with service providers so that they can get help. The reason the traffickers use immigration as a way to threaten the people is because people are ignorant, they don't know, they have a lot of fear. So it's just really to instill fear. So part of the reason we have these community meetings and this coalition is to create awareness. That's the main goal. So that the victims come out, they know that not to be afraid of the trafficker in the sense of you will be deported. Being a male in America, a young male, is very dangerous because, like you mentioned, most of the people that are prosecuted are people who really have petty crimes, little things that are not that serious. If you look at the laws of rape, for instance, it's very easy to get into that situation, yet the traffickers and the people that are actually using these services of commercial sex are the ones that least getting in trouble, right? So something that is also tied into this issue, especially for young men, is to be careful out there and to not be charged with statutory rape. Once you get into those lists, it's very difficult to take your name off. And so it really is also a male issue that you have to protect yourself, you have to be aware. And also by participating in the coalition meetings, getting involved with the community, getting involved with the people who actually write the laws, trying to make some inroads there and see, are we really punishing the right people, Or are we just really punishing the traffickers, the victims, right? But the real movers and shakers of the business are the least that are being prosecuted, they're out there, they just move their shop somewhere else. But get involved. I think there is good energy out there. The most important thing is get involved in the community, get involved with the legislation at all levels, local, state, federal, community organizations, faith-based organizations, coalition. Get the word out there. There is good momentum to do it.
I just want to add, the things that we do is because, God says the thief is out to kill, steal, and destroy. He's out to kill, steal, and destroy our children, our men, and our women. And that's one reason why our group does what we do. Because if you have a woman, and I'm thankful that I haven't run across a minor yet. I'm just grateful. Everyone's been over 18. But when you have a woman that's trying to raise a family, or she has this trafficker that says, I love you. You need to do this for me. That's why we reach out to these women, because we want to show them there's another way. There is a better way. There is resources, because my group works with several other groups. There is resources. We have places we can put them. We have, there's jobs, there's just other resources. So when it comes to why we do this, if it's just to get one woman to come out of it and say, okay, I've had enough. You know, I've had enough. I can reach out and touch someone else. I've had enough. There is a better life. I don't have to be beaten or tortured or exploited because I'm trying to live or because I'm trying to please this man. You know, I just wanted to add that because this is what we run into while we're out there. You know, I find locks on the inside of these massage parlors. They're locking them in. You know, if no one's going out there and saying, I care about you, and I don't use the word I love you because they hear I love you all day long. You know, it's not true. It's not true love. So we go out and we say we care. We build relationships with them. And eventually, you know, now we've been able to like befriend them. We take gifts to them. We pray with them. And eventually, I know we're going to see if it's just one woman coming out, it's worth years of outreach. Okay.
Thank you. And this is the last question of the night, and I ask, please, let's try to keep our answers short, at least under a minute or two, because we do need to clear the room. Would abolishing or lowering the minimum wage lead to the ending or reduction of forced labor in the U.S.?
Very quick answer.
What about setting a higher standard for our minimum wage?
No. I mean, I've been in a business, like a restaurant business, since I've been a young girl. Every time they raise minimum wage, they raise gas, they raise milk, they raise your groceries, the electricity goes up. It's a two-edged sword. It never ends, never ends. So you see, they keep raising minimum wage, but then next thing you know, you're paying $10 for a sandwich or $4 for the gallon of milk. It doesn't quit. It's not the answer. That's not the answer.
I'm sorry, can I comment on that? I agree and I disagree. I agree that it's not the full answer. Minimum wage obviously is, and I know this is completely off topic, but I do think that raising minimum wage is one issue. The other issue is the answer to that, where they raise everything else. That's the issue. It's not the fact that people shouldn't have minimum wage raised. I mean, if I'm making $5 an hour, that's okay if milk isn't $5 an hour. You know what I mean? Yeah, the cost of living stays the same. So that's all.
Well, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, it is.
We'll have another forum.
I did want to bring up something. I mean, I am actually for raising the minimum wage, but that's for entirely other political different reasons. But I also want you all to think critically is that the people that are hired for this cheap labor, and I'm talking specifically labor trafficking, most of them are undocumented, okay? So the fact that they're undocumented, they get taken advantage of. And the thing is, let's be honest, we are in a country that's very conservative and has conservative, this conservative thought that these undocumented workers are the criminals, that they're the ones stealing our jobs, that they're the ones that, are jumping the fence, jumping the border to take, to basically mess up our system. But the thing is that how are these people brought here? And that's through force, that's through fraud, that's through coercion. They are, misled and said, you can have a better life here in America and we'll get you a nice paying job. But then they come to this country and they're forced to wash dishes, or they're forced to be nannies to very rich people, and that's actually happened. So that's what domestic servitude is that in very rich parts of Houston, I'm talking about Katy, I'm talking about Sugar Land, River Oaks area, that these very wealthy families bring in people and they force them to work 16, 17 hours a day, and they're not allowed to leave the house. And the thing is, these people don't know their rights. They don't know that, yes, even though they're undocumented, that under US Constitution, US law, that even if they're undocumented, they are still protected by the US Constitution. And they don't know that. So that's why these traffickers manipulate them and say, well, if you go to the police, you're undocumented, you'll be deported, and you will be fined, you'll get sent to jail. So I think in that terms, that the fact that these people don't know their rights, they are going to be consistently exploited, and that is completely separate than raising the minimum wage. But if you do ask me, yes, the minimum wage should be raised.
Well, thank you for allowing me to facilitate this program, and everybody have a safe night.